Hey there, I'm sure you're confused wondering what this is. Originally, the Edgar Allan Poe playlist was on a series of shorts, and now it's a long-form video. Well, brace yourself because it is about to become a live stream to complete the trifecta. So if you're all caught up with the shorts, feel free to go ahead and jump to the next video, because it picks off exactly where the shorts left off. But if you do, you may miss out on some fun little facts, like I'm missing a tooth. Super good idea to try your first live stream that is very narrative heavy when you're missing a front tooth. For the record, I have good dental hygiene. This is a sports injury that the implant has kind of like screwed up, so it fell out, or we had to have it pulled out, and anyway, it's gonna be fixed, I promise. So super fun. So what is the point of this? When I started this channel, I wanted to create a community to me playing by myself. Oh, that sounds bad. And people watching and playing along at home. No, I wanted to create a community. Now it just sounds bad no matter what I say. Just playing board games and mostly solo tabletop role-playing games. And as opposed to me just playing it by myself, it just sounds about every time now. I wanted to invite the community in to tell me what to do, and it's really just starting to sound like OnlyFans. But it's not, because nobody wants to see that. Tooth. But my idea was, like, you would give me input for, like, choices, help me with riddles to solve, because there's a lot of really great solo board games and tabletop role-playing games, and I want to try to include a community. When I didn't have that, the community, when I was trying to do the 1,000-Year-Old Vampire, which I will finish, I started doing shorts, which I'm still going to continue. I'm an actor, I like to write, I have a lot of Dungeons & Dragons knowledge from, like, 30-some-odd years now. So the shorts come very naturally, and they're super fun, and I enjoy them. And people do too, because it got me a bunch of subscribers, so now I can get back to the core hope of my channel, which is forming this community. So here we are, and I am ready to finally play a game with you, the viewer. Or viewers, because I have already shot the first episode with 2 viewers, which is awesome. I had a really good time doing that, so I'm happy to make this grow and see how it turns out. This next episode that coming up, it by no means is the finale. We just get to a good stopping point. It only went about an hour, and I'm going to guess, just at the lack of any items or conditions that we were lacking, I feel we have a long way to go with this thing. So maybe a few episodes, which is exciting. And it goes really weird really fast. So I'm going to keep my channel updated when the next live stream is going. I will schedule them, and I'll probably even put polls and see what time works best for people. I'd love to get like a handful of people. Again, this isn't really about the numbers for me. It is, I just want this to be shared by more people and to be an enjoyable experience for everybody. Because again, there is a really great bunch of board games and especially solo tabletop role-playing games out there to be played. So let's play. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do a pretty brief, pretty quick recap of everything, but I think I'm going to go ahead and read the passages so you can still get the full experience of the game. So starting from this point, I'm about to go forward, and I'm just going to read through the passages. I'll put all the stuff up on the screen properly, and just so you can get a good feel for the game. And there were some really challenging riddles that Mike, who thankfully is in the stream coming up, that Mike solved for us. So again, thank you so much, and let's get going. Okay, this is it. Normally there'd be a chat down beneath us, but it's just you and me. So this is the book, and let's get going. All right. Edgar Allan Poe, do not read this introduction. Okay. All right, so here we go. So I am going to read this, so to get a good feel for the game. I will say in the first video, I was having a little bit of audio issues. Either my mic would drop out on occasion, so I'm trying it in a different port. I could not figure out why I was doing that. And also, the volume, which I couldn't register, of the background music is a little too loud, especially in the beginning. I'm sorry about that. Just know that eventually in the video it gets remedied. And yeah, let's go. You awaken with the sensation of 1,000 little legs scurrying over your body, across your face, between your fingers. You remain completely still, eyes closed, overcome by a mixture of horror and disgust. You realize that you are lying on the damp stone floor and that the whirring noise is getting ever closer. You feel the caked and slimy fur of the small creatures on top of you. You're smothered by them. And when you react, waving them away from your mouth nervously, trying to liberate yourself from that asphyxiating drove of beasts. You feel two sharp fangs sink into your palm, piercing your flesh like a needle, easily penetrating deep within. Instinctively you scream, but not from fear or pain, for you recall that you have already suffered so much pain. And a moment later, you find yourself listening to a heavy silence, your eyelids clenched tightly shut. And then we have two options. If you want to open your eyes, or if you'd rather keep them closed a little bit longer. Now, the first thing I realized when I read this passage is this italicized part. You recall that you have already suffered so much pain. And I was like, what have we missed? And coming to in this weird environment, I was like, is this like a Groundhog's Day scenario? Like, I was already getting this feeling that we've been in this exact place before. And let's see if that happens. So, when I was releasing these on the shorts, it was already voted that we wanted to open our eyes. So we go to 37. 37. Close, close, close. We're going to be seeing that very soon. You quickly open your eyes, only to see that you are drowning in despair. The blackness of eternal night overcomes you. You struggle to breathe. The intensity of the darkness seems to oppress and stifle you. You lay still for a few moments and then grit your teeth and stand up. You notice that your feet are bare and that you are wearing only a rough tunic. But most of all, you hear the echo of your own cries, which tells you that you are in a large space, yet one that is surrounded by walls. And then we have the three choices if you want to head towards the nearest wall, if you prefer to walk straight across the room, or we can try and call for help. If you're following along verbatim, I didn't say the word Sergi. I don't know what that word is. This is a translation from Italian, a very good translation, but every now and then there's some very Poe-esque words in it, or just words I don't know, and I get scared and I skip over them. But I believe that word means wool. It's a rough wool tunic. So I digress. The comments in this section said they wanted to walk straight across the room, so we walk straight across the room. Let's walk to 30. See what happens. Okay, here we go. We got us a little test. You muster up your courage and start walking, trying to proceed in as straight a line as possible. The ground is slippery and damp. You stagger along for a few steps until you feel water dripping in front of you, guiding you along your way. I could not figure this puzzle out. Mike did, and it's pretty clever, but still pretty easy. So what this is, you will notice, unfortunately I don't have a cursor to point out, but the very top line is a 1. The line underneath it is either an 11 or 2 ones. It is in fact 1, 1. So what's happening is the first line, I guess the line underneath a line is saying what is in the previous line. So line 1 is 1. Line 2 is saying that line 1 has 1, 1 in it. So therefore there are 2 ones. The following line is saying there are 2 ones. The line after that is saying it goes 1, 2, and then there is 1, 1. The following line says there is 1, 1, followed by 1, 2, followed by 2 ones. So then therefore the answer to the riddle is that would be 3 ones, 2 twos, and 1, 1. And with that answer, that would come to 3, what did I say? I'm so self-conscious about my tooth, so when I laugh, that's like a time you can really see it. We're all human, things happen. So it's 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. Yes, that's the answer. Because then what we're supposed to do, it says, if you can complete the mathematical sequence, add up the 6 digits and go to the paragraph that corresponds to the sum. The sum of those numbers that were at the bottom is 10, and 10 is the next paragraph. Thank you, Michael, for solving that one. I think we have another even more complicated one coming up. You make your way forward, following the drops of water that drip from the ceiling, but a torn bit of fabric from the hem of your tunic trips you and you fall, chest first, onto the stone, knocking the wind out of you. Your head hangs down into emptiness. Your forehead feels damp with clammy vapor, and the recognizable smell of rotten mushrooms fills your nostrils. You reach out your arm and shudder to find that you have fallen at the very brink of the circular pit. By groping along the masonry just below the edge, you succeed in dislodging a small fragment of stone. You drop it into the abyss. For many seconds, you hear it ricochet against the sides of the chasm as it falls, until it finally plunges heavily into water. From here, it just says just go to 20. Just as the echo fades, you feel something like the rapid opening of a door above. A pale glow flashes momentarily in the darkness, and then disappears, allowing you to perceive the proportions of the room. It's square, metal walls punctuated at regular distances with decorated niches. You notice the shadow of a table near the shorter end of the cell, in the presence of the pit. You make a rough calculation of how many steps it will take to reach the table without falling into it. What we see here is this riddle. Mike figured this one out. This is basically a Sudoku. The column that starts with the 2 and then goes 11, 7, 14, that equals 34. The row that goes 5, 10, 11, 8, that equals 34. So what Mike figured out was, with the use of a spreadsheet and using his office hours at work, the tooth, it makes me nervous. But he realized that, so everything needs to be 34. So there are 16 different boxes, so only each number can only be used once, 1 through 16. So the only possible number that could be in the highlighted area beneath the 10 and to the left of the 7 was a 6. So we go to paragraph 6. And we're actually already very close now to where I stopped working on the shorts, and then we jump into the live stream. Again, the live stream, it is nowhere near complete. I've done one episode of like 45 minutes. We just kind of stopped at what seemed a good point. Just judging by like how much we are lacking, I think we've got a ways to go, and it's weird. So yeah, let's keep going. You advance slowly in the darkness, expecting danger at every step, until you bump into a hefty table. You sense something rolling towards the edge, and you reach out and grab it before it falls. It's a long, narrow cylinder of waxy material. You explore its length and notice that there's a rough wick at one end. You realize that you are holding a candle. You feel about on the tabletop carefully, taking note of its smooth surface, until you find a rusty tinderbox under a pile of other candles. Before going any further, jot down that you've discovered the location of the table, and note the number of this paragraph. So I did that. I just have a little note section that I'm keeping. I just say, we've discovered a table in paragraph 6. So let's go forward. If you want to light the candle, go to 12. If you would rather not light it and would prefer to discard the 2 objects, go to 2. Well, we obviously chose to light the candle, and I just found that a weird thing. Like, why can't you... So your choice is light the candle or, like, throw the tinderbox and candle back on the ground. Why can't you just keep them? But anyway, we chose to light the candle, which is 12. Cruising. You forcefully strike the flint against the steel tinderbox several times, directing the sparks towards the wick. It's a long and laborious process, made even more difficult by the damp humidity in the cell, but finally you manage to light the candle. The weak light is enough to illuminate the space around you. Now this is a quick, like, oh, okay, this is the first instance of, wow, we've done nothing. If you have filled the well and have a bone shard, okay, can't do that. If you have filled the well but don't have a bone shard, nope. If you didn't fill the well but you have a bone shard, nope. So our only option available is to, if you didn't fill the well and don't have a bone shard, go to 9. Okay. Easy enough. Here we go. You stare at the flickering Try that again. You stare at the flickering flame until some fragments of memory come to the surface. The sound of a death knell. Your wrists bound in chains. Each glimmer of the past struggles to emerge, as if someone had played with the mosaic of your recollections, scrambling the meaning and order of things. It takes hours to reconstruct your trial. The courtroom, the judges of the Inquisition, the heavy and dark drapes, the accusations, the sentencing, and finally the oblivion that followed until your imprisonment. But it feels like you are seeing it all through a mirror, even the final condemnation. And then there's some weird kind of gobbledygook. And then it says, the candle is about to go out. Wizard needs food badly. Okay, and that's pretty much it. The stream picks up right at this moment, and that's where I left off for the general public with these shorts. Like I said earlier, the audio is a little bit louder than I want it to be for the background music. Eventually, it does get remedied, so I apologize. This was my first stream, so it isn't gonna be great. But I did learn a lot from it, and I look forward to doing plenty more of these and playing plenty of these games, be it Choose Your Own Adventures or board games or solo TTRPGs. Thank you so much for watching this, and here's the awkward portion where I'm clicking things and like, how do I turn this off? I found it. I'm going to turn it off now. Goodbye.